Hey guys, this is Lisa, and you found my channel, Straight Talk with Lisa. If you've been around a while, I really appreciate it, and welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. It's a place where we're going to hope to be educational, motivational, inspirational, funny, informative, and most of all, supportive. We're going to talk straight about a lot of things. And I had a different video planned and ready to go, and it was all about, and will still publish, about advocating for yourself in beauty services, how to find the best hairstylist, how to find the grooming services that you want or need, and how to get the service that you want when you ask for it, things like that. But this was a priority because of some interactions I've had with people in recent days, and that's about how we talk to ourselves. Self-talk is the buzzword, right? But I have been so concerned about the kinds of things that I've been hearing people say about themselves out loud in front of other people that I thought we need to talk about how destructive that negative self-talk can be. I want to talk first of all about, well, what is self-talk? What is it? It's those things we say to or about ourselves that affirm or tear down who we are. Oh, you know, I know, but what we mean comes after the but, right? I have a pretty face, but I'm fill in the blank. Too fat, too thin, too tall, too short, uneducated, not smart. Whatever it might be that we're saying to ourselves. It could be about any number of things. Our capability, our capacity as a human being, our value and worth. And I've been so struck lately by the fact that people so casually and without regard for the message it sends say such terrible things about themselves. I think it's typically true that we wouldn't think to talk that way to or about other people. We wouldn't say to someone else, wow, you're really pretty, but you're way too fat. Now, bullies will do that, right? We've talked about that. But in general conversation, we wouldn't allow ourselves to talk about other people in the way we talk about ourselves. And we shouldn't allow other people to say those negative things about us either. That is unacceptable. It is bullying in every occasion. I'm also struck by the fact that we teach people how to treat us based upon the way we talk about ourselves. When we are constantly putting ourselves down, talking about our lack of capacity, talking about our lack of intelligence, talking about our lack of organizational skills, everything from soup to nuts that is negative and bad about ourselves, it causes other people to see us with less value. It causes other people to believe they perhaps should question our intelligence or capacity. It causes other people to think perhaps they can talk about us in that way. And we need to be advocating for not only ourselves, but other people when we hear negative self-talk messaging. I am quick to say to others when they say, I have a pretty face, but what you mean comes after the but. And so let's change that and frame it in such a way that, number one, we're not really finding our value in the physical, right? It doesn't matter whether we think we're too thin or too tall or too short or too fat or too broad-shouldered or too long-legged, whatever it is. We don't need to be identifying ourselves as any of those things because it isn't who we are. If there are things about yourself that you're dissatisfied with and you have the ability to have any impact on changing them, feel free to do that. But don't sit around believing that your value and worth are tied to that disclaimer, descriptor that you're using about yourself. And don't send a public message about an inner message that you lack value, because others will believe you. And we believe the lies we tell ourselves. So when we tell ourselves continually that we are not good enough, then we begin to believe it. And a cautionary tale for us who are parents or individuals of influence, a teacher. Perhaps we're an aunt or someone, an uncle, who is speaking into the lives of other people. If we continually send negative messaging about ourselves and someone finds something in them that is similar to us, well, they're similar in height, or they too struggle with a weight issue, or they didn't do so great on their ACTs either, they begin to believe, perhaps you believe that about them. Well, you don't, of course. You can find that self-talk and deprecation to you. But do you want them to believe you might? Do you want them to believe you might think that about them? Of course you don't. And so I want to ask you to evaluate for one full day. Yep, homework assignment. I want you to evaluate for one full day, more if you need to. What am I telling myself? What am I saying to myself that I should be replacing with more accurate statements and more self-appreciative statements? Let's not go straight to self-love, right? That's a gap. We got a gap right now if we're saying such negative things about ourselves. But can we just agree that we should monitor what we're saying about ourselves? That's all I'm asking right now. Evaluate, what am I saying to myself? What are the messaging that I'm sending? Do I say it out loud so that others hearing it might believe they too can value me in this way? I want you to take a day and I want you to evaluate how you're talking to yourself. And I want you to be honest. I want you to talk straight with yourself about the negative things that you're saying to yourself. And then we'll talk again about how to replace those statements with other statements. Statements that are appreciative of the values about yourself that are quality. I may be the things I've said previously, but I'm also kind and generous and patient and loving, and any of those other character qualities that more accurately discuss the real you, right? So, homework. I want you to evaluate how you're talking to yourself. What are you saying to yourself? What messages are you giving about yourself to the world around you when you continually put yourself down? And am I being treated in accordance with my value because my words don't match it? That's just a little straight talk from Lisa, and I want you to take it serious and evaluate where you're at. We're going to talk again about how to replace those statements. But for now, I want you to hit the subscribe. Stick around. Give it a thumbs up. Like what you're hearing if it's resonating with you. Please comment if you're saying, look, I can't wait for another video. I need you to tell me now how it is that I can replace what I'm saying to myself with more self-appreciative statements, with more gracious speech about myself. If you've got something that you've done to overcome negative self-talk, please put a comment so that others can see it and maybe use the same. And lastly, hit the notification so that when those other videos are posting, you'll know right away that they're there. All right? Have an honest conversation with yourself. Talk straight and evaluate where you're at in your talk.